The fate of Vietnam, we are not an island. We belong to a world, and our fate is linked to yours. So yours is linked to us, to ours also. Because of that, your officials think that 1965 we shall be victorious, we shall not need them. We also, we think like that. Of course, if at that time there is some new event or anything disturbing, I'm sure that without us requesting it, your own country will see that it is their own security which is at stake, and it will be your own country which will try to do something about it. So in this affair, I do not think that we should worry too much, because we have the same fate. Whatever happens in my country, we shall not feel it alone. You also, you will feel it. I hear that my daughter seems to be more informed than I. She says that you come from Hungary, and maybe you wish to know if we shall have your same fate. About it, I think that exactly why human justice has improved in the world. It is thanks to judicial errors. The more they are monstrous, the more people learn. So we are learning from your experience. And I think because of that, because of its geographical position, never of the country will accept to some influence in Vietnam.
Question.
Oh, no. I'm ready. I shall hear more.
Mr. McGovern, have somebody there? John?
Madam Newell, before asking my question, I should like to say that I think it is unfortunate that you must spend so much time defending yourself before you can answer further questions. Now, it seems to me that due to the type of press coverage you are given in our country, we are spoon-fed on all the news that's fit to print, and we fail to realize
John, could you continue, please?
No, please, will you continue, and slowly, please? I think that not only I, but the whole House agreed with me about the statement and question of gentleman. About that, about that what about the statement and the question, I can say that in general, the place where I go here, they always ask me, why did you say that why are you attacked so much? Why your country is attacked so much? What is the chief accusation? That means they themselves, we hear attacks. It is said that we are those dogs which must be drowned because we are mad. As you know that French saying, when one wants to drown a dog, one always says that it is mad. But nobody so far has could prove that that dog was mad. So as long as that act of drowning that dog cannot be proven that it is a beneficial action for humanity because the dog is mad, so it is only a crime. And now, because I could not make myself heard in my country, that I come here not at all to lecture people or to make propaganda, anything. It is just to ask, but why should we be drowned? Why should we be suppressed? Why do you dislike us? So far, people could not tell it, because when they say, they give their reasons. The main reasons, I prefer to read you because they say, for instance, that the Vietnamese regime is not democratic and lacks popular support, But that regime, we must know, that regime, while undergoing a murderous war, costing it during its blackest hours as many as 5,000 casualties per month. You must know that this number is terrible for us, because we are only 14 million people, and 5,000 a month is terrible for us. So, only that number shows you how that fight is terrible in my country. So in spite of that war, Vietnam has held during 9 years of that war 5 elections of universal suffrage, allowing its people to choose their representatives. What regime, even in peacetime, allows its people not only to elect a parliament every 4 years, but also every 2 years, every 2 years, the administrative committees in countryside, hamlets, and in every quarter of each city, whether large or small, hold elections. So the accusation that we are not democratic based on I wonder what. As for popular support, how would we have won if the people did not believe in their cause? If they did not close their hamlet themselves to defend it against the invader? If taken all together, they did not mobilize themselves, accepting the greatest sacrifices in this struggle against the communists and putting all their confidences in a regime which is leading them to victory? People have spoken very much about the monks who burned themselves. But those monks who burned themselves because they were incited to do it. The people whom they trust told them falsely that if they accept sacrifices or if they commit suicide, they would reach nirvana more promptly. Nirvana is the Buddhist paradise. Would reach nirvana more promptly because their faith is in danger. Those people have never been able to prove that the faith is in danger, and they have cheated those people to do those things. So far, there are 5 people who accepted those sacrifices. And immediately we hear that this is enough. It is the proof of how strong is the opposition in Vietnam. But if we must count on sacrifices to tell the strength of someone, so Vietnam, the Vietnamese regime, must be how much stronger with all those thousands of people who die not at all for the sake of publicity or because they are cheated, but they accept to die obscurely to defend their country, to defend the regime. Finally, there is one thing I wish to remember. How would a regime without the popular support dare to arm all its people? The paramilitary forces who do not live in barracks but among the people are the proof of it. Imagine that we do not have only an army, but all the people who live in the hamlets, means nearly all people in the country are armed. So imagine if a government or a regime is unpopular, how can they dare to arm those people? So this is also a proof. I find extremely presumptuous that certain foreigners or those Vietnamese residing abroad, always in refuge on foreign soil, who believe themselves more patriotic than we, the frontline fighters. They ignore the decisions of the Vietnamese people manifested in free elections in order to decree that our executive lacks popular support and to complain at the same time in the most illogical manner that our legislature is no more than a rubber stamp for the executive. About the question of a rubber stamp parliament, I have repeatedly said, but what wrong to rubber stamp the laws we approve? And we cannot. Would one, I ask myself, doubt, for example, the popular support enjoyed by a government and for that reason seek to overthrow it just because its margin of victory over the opposition was narrow? Would one also doubt the legitimacy of a parliament each time that it approves a bill presented by the executive? Here it must still be remembered that the war will not be able to be won militarily if it is not also won politically. And politically, Vietnam has a winning democratic program that it applies with courage and determination. So about this, I wish to tell you this. It is very strange. At our darkest times last year, when one of our provinces was overrun for 24 hours by the Viet Cong, means the North Communists, everybody predicted defeat, that we were doomed. In 1 year, we have returned the situation of near defeat to near victory. But at that time, those dark times, everybody was saying the war cannot be won militarily if it cannot be won politically. But now, in 1 year that we have proven that the war is won militarily, nobody accepts to cling to their former declaration that since it is won militarily, that means we win also politically. That is it is very illogical. But since we are winning militarily, it shows more than anything else that our policy in Vietnam is healthy, and it helps that victory, military victory. So I think that I have answered to the gentleman a moment ago about his question about Vietnam. And I wish here to repeat to you that you should know that the Vietnamese people, they may be very proud, they are very proud people, but never ungrateful, never. And our aim when we fight communism, and we want so much to win faster, it is the impulse which pushes us. Is not only our personal aim that we must vanquish the enemy, but also because we know that we have in the same boat a great country which has put all its confidence in us. So it is because of that we want to win the fastest we can, and it is to show our gratefulness. We know that gratefulness does not mean anything if it is only expressed in words. We want to express in actions. So don't believe all those people who try to demoralize our allies by telling this and that, and by speaking of the anti-Americanism of the Vietnamese and chiefly of the Vietnamese regime. It is absolutely untrue. And the proof of that when it is strange, but when I arrive here, I see many people who come and who ask me,
I will ask my question in English, and Dr. Marley will ask it in French. My question in general concerns the rise at the Université de Grey of April the 8th of this year. It has been reported that on April 6th of this year, your government issued a ban forbidding the flying of all religious flags of any religious denomination, in a public parade. Now, in view of the fact that April the 8th is a major Buddhist religious festival, and that riots did occur in the University of Hue on April the 8th, could your move have been considered as a crackdown solely aimed at the Buddhists?
3 days before a festivity, a Buddhist festivity, the leaders, the Buddhist leaders, who in fact are very little Buddhist, because they do not at all apply the Buddhist principle of pacifism, director of the national radio to broadcast I would be ready to answer many more questions, but I do not want at all to deprive you of your lunch. You will that's why. I wish also to tell you a few words. Surely, I'm sure when I see how you are nice with me, I've never received in the United States such a reception, and I'm really moved. I wish to tell you this. Whatever you hear in the world, in the press, which really disappoints you about me, please don't condemn me without giving me the opportunity to answer. So if you hear something like that, just write to me. I shall be very happy to answer. And I wish also to say this about a few expressions which I know that people of my own religion feel ashamed that I could have pronounced it. I apologize to repeat them, and which is always put against me, means barbecue and clapping hands and all that. I wish to tell you this, that in my country, those expressions are not mine really. They are all known in Saigon. In the American colony, everybody was saying that. But it is, of course, I have no reason to repeat it. If I have something more important, according to me, must provoke that declaration. It is this. In my country, I saw perfectly that naive people were incited to sacrifice themselves without reason. And we kept telling them, there is no reason. It is absolutely unnecessary. In spite of that, people still do it. So I believed that I should do something to stop those criminal incitements. I believe that nothing is better than ridicule. I used those words believing that ridicule will kill those incitements and will stop. It helps. It works indeed. But it was also against me. But I wish you to know that my intention was good. I believe that it is my duty to save human lives by the means which were provided to me, and I think that the only thing was ridicule. I did not intend at all, I did not mean at all to be cruel. But so later on, I may still make mistakes like that.
It's going to electrocute you. What are you doing with that?
This is a shotgun. What was your reaction to Madame Newt?
We're reacting right now.
Ask him for something more specific.
More specific. I mean, was that
I didn't hear the speech of the Q&A, so I don't know.
speech? Excuse
Or
me?
the questions and answers.
Oh. Well, I don't know if we were really... I didn't follow everything she said. I was just watching.
She seemed to avoid a lot of questions.
Yeah, she avoided questions. She enjoyed it
with great detail
and with great charm.
She was very intelligent. I think she came in determined to be disarming and soft and gentle, with appealing to us as sort of sisters. I think that's one reason why she decided to choose a women's college first. And with the minute of silence, trying to disarm all criticism and wipe out the fact that she wants to call American soldiers of fortune.
Appealing for emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was
What was your reaction?
Well, I sort of felt she did a good job of avoiding a lot of the questions, and she did it in a very fine manner, but it sort of annoyed me at points.
What about you? What was your reaction?
I thought it was very exciting, but I wouldn't want it to happen again. It's a little too much.
She was evasive, pretty, and I'm sorry that she didn't feel better.
Can you step out here into the light just a little more?
She was evasive, pretty, and I'm sorry she didn't feel better.
How about you, like No, come on. Just stay just where you are.
Well, I think the questions were excellent, and they really got to the point. But she didn't have any intention of getting to any point.
I also think that some of the questions were rephrased to some extent, which made it difficult for her to understand our point of view. And, well, that's about it on the questions.
I don't think she really changed anybody's point of view. I think she might have clarified some points, but I don't think that anyone was greatly altered by what she said.
Do you think that most people are for or against Madame Newell after today's address?
Against Madame Newell.
I think we remain against.
Yeah. We haven't changed.
It also seems as though she has pat answers for everything. Hearing the report yesterday to the Overseas Press Club, she seemed to have repeated almost in the exact same words questions that were completely different, but answers that were the same.
There were a few times that she kept on searching for words. It seemed as if she had special answers that were memorized for questions, and I suppose the question could be fitted around the answers.
But that also could have been her weakness in English.
That's true. It's sort of hard to know.
You don't want to